सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। 11th श्लोका, page 33. nānopādhivaśādeva jātivarṇāśramādayaḥ ātmanyāropitāstoye rasavarṇādi bhedavat। नाना उपाधि, different kinds of limitations or conditionings, because of the presence of that Atma Chaitanya, it is not only enlivened, but Vashat, Upadhi Vashat, we become those upadhis, we become those limitations. And these limitations are Atmanyāropitaha. They are being superimposed. Earlier it was said it is called parikalpitaha. Here it is saying āropitaha. They are superimposed onto the self. We use several instruments. Just because we use those instruments, we like those instruments, we don't ever behave or exist as those instruments. I don't know if I said that in this Atmabodha or during the Hanuman Chalisa. We drive vehicles, but we don't behave like those vehicles. If the car is red, I don't become red. If the car is black, I don't become black. If the car is bulky, I don't become bulky. If the car is super fast, I don't end up becoming super fast. If the car is old and dilapidated, I am not old and dilapidated. Those are the lakshana, the attributes of that vehicle. Similarly, if I use a smartphone, I don't become smart. If I use a sharp knife, I don't become sharp. If I use a dull knife, I don't become dull. Butter knives are supposed to be dull. The purpose is different. Because I use it, I don't end up becoming dull. Yes, not knowing what instrument to use when, I may become dumb. But that is my vichakshana. Similarly, these different upadhis of sharira, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, sukshma karana, sukshma sthula karana sharira, these are all different categories of upadhis. Knowing what they are and knowing how to use them, knowing how to withdraw from them is a necessity. But we don't stop just by using them. We carry a special pride. So much so that if something were to be said about it or it is criticized, I feel criticized. If somebody said, the observation, okay. If somebody said, what a beautiful sari you are wearing. Thank you. Hello, excuse me. What was appreciated is only the sari, is only the suit that you are wearing. But the assumption is, what a beautiful house. Thank you. So I started using this to my convenience. Somebody cooks food, brings, and when Brahmachari says, oh, this is so good, I immediately say, thank you. We have this constant necessity to find a sense of fulfillment through these various instruments, and we don't stop there. Through these instruments, we also identify with the world of objects and try to have our self-esteem decided by that. What is the purposefulness of it, and should I be engaged in it or not, should be the criteria. A watch on the wrist is to show time. Whether you wear a Rolex, whether you wear Casio or a Titan or whatever be the brand, purpose क्या है उसका? It has to indicate proper time, not just some random time. Proper time it has to indicate. But then the pride goes, this is a Rolex. Tag Heuer. Brand names. And because of this criteria, the entire field of MBA advertisement relies upon our sense of stupidity. Somebody who is supposed to be Shrestha, whether it is an actor, actress, or a sportsman, they are cool because they have these brands. And if you are not wearing it, you are uncool. Not uncle, uncool. And because of that identification and the pride that I carry in it, in all useless things that we carry pride. And therefore, Adi Shankaracharya ji again and again hammers it. Tatah kim, tatah kim, tatah kim, tatah kim. So what? Somebody was recently introducing Swamiji, foreign returned. Is that an attribute that has to be highlighted? He had been traveling only in flights. What difference does it make? Does it really? Is that an attribute to carry? But the identification and the pride that which we carry now has to be respected by the world. Me carrying the pride is not the only criteria there. The criteria is the extension wherein I have to now force that standard onto others, and they have to have a created value for it. And in that value, I have to fly, I have to float in it. nānopādhivaśādeva jātivarṇāśramādayaḥ. Look at the extension. It starts from being identified with the limitation of these instruments, these conditionings. This is what I pull up together to make my sense of self-worth. That is called ahankara. And if somebody is reducing that self-worth of mine lower, my sense of self-worth is being punctured. Therefore, I am being punctured. Therefore, I feel very low. If that is carried about, then I feel very high. How flimsy is that? See, in comparison, Hanumanji also carried a self-worth, and it was as Ramaduta. The representative of that Parabrahma Paramatma Sri Ramachandra. There are times wherein we have to represent that. There was one Swamiji, this is about 30 years ago. He had just written back from Japan. And he narrated a story. He said it was his Ekadashi. He used to follow that Ekadashi Vrata, like many people here follow. that he would not eat anything. At the night, he would take only fruits. So it was a evening train that day, and he had this opinion that just like the Indian railway stations, that as soon as the train stops at the railway station, there will be barrage of things that will come and you can buy something off the platform. So he would step out, take a look, and not finding anything, disappointed, he would come back into the train and sit in a seat. 2-3 stations, an opposite Japanese fellow who was also traveling with him saw this and asked him, Ki bhaiya, are you waiting for somebody? Did you miss somebody catching the train? What is happening? Can I help you? He said, no, this is the kind of regulation that I have, and therefore I have been searching for some fruits. So he just heard it, let it be. And the next station, as this Mahatma also got down to search for fruits, the Japanese also got down, but he was in a hurry. And again disappointed, this Mahatma came back and sat down. Just as the train was about to close the gates, the fellow co-passenger, he ran into the train with a basket of fruits. Because he knew where to rush to and quickly get it, and he luckily got it, and he gave it to those Mahatmas. He said, hopefully this will be sufficient for you. He said, thank you for the effort. How much can I, how much did it cost? What do I owe you? He said, when you go back to your country, do let them know that in Japan we have fruits. Pride of nation. Children, when they are at home, just before going to their college, because mummy papa will be strict with them, they will put chandan or tika or kumkum. Just as they step out, it gets completely, why? It does not go well with the genes. Genes में कोई खराबी है. Right? There is no pride. See, that where there should be, so that that identity props us to reach to a secured environment from where this adhyatmikata can be pursued, that can be ascertained. But then, I'm just trying to make the difference where it is necessary and where it is not. When you start this adhyatmikata, and the identity becomes the criteria, then we have not yet understood what this spiritual path is. The mission statement, I think it was Guruji who wrote it. Any individual from any background, this Vedantic wisdom is provided for that individual, that you are not discriminated upon based on jati, varna, kula, gotra, dharma, none of these. Like that which you have to reach is beyond that. Like the other day, there was a gentleman, his question was, women should not take to the path of this spirituality and sannyasa. क्यों भाई? तुमको क्यों चिढ़ मच रहा है? Because they can focus better and they can achieve it better, you are feeling insecure? Jati is the, see again, when you talk about jati, within the jati, there is sajatiya, vijatiya, svagata, bhedat. Sajatiya, in this particular hall that we are sitting right now, what are we called collectively? Baseline. Sadhakatva, I don't know how to evaluate, but the baseline, human beings. Sajati. It defines that we are Homo sapiens. Yes, now you can add attributes, sadhakas and the rest of it. Sajati, same jati. Vijati. Vijati, there is a herd of cows or sheep, goat, and there is a group of human beings also tending to it. So there are different kinds of jati. And then there can be svagata. Within the jati there can be different kinds of classifications. There are men, there are women, there are young, there are old. These are different kinds of classifications. So that kind of classification based on vritti dharma, jati dharma, vritti dharma. When you go to a hospital, there are two kinds. One, they are called the patients. The other is called the health providers, nurse, sub staff, including doctors, health providers. Two kinds of jati based on the vritti. So when we have a conference of scientists, they are all called, they belong to the vritti of some science, research and some foundation. Jati. Varna. Varna actually, the word varna means the color. The external color we have been divided into Asians, Caucasians and black. Predominantly. Once the police stopped my car back in Dallas and he had to give me a notice, and in that notice he was fumbling with something. So I asked him, is there a problem? He said, I have two options to pick your race, and the options are black or white. But you are somewhere in between. I don't have that option. And I have to fill that. And thus, thereby, according to a official citation, I have been decided as white. Not black, so white. No other option. If somebody calls me a little dark brown color, I will not accept no. Why? I have been given an official statement. the certificate that I am white. And how much of market is there to say that if you are dark, you are not cool? Earlier, before I left India, it was called only Fair and Lovely. Nowadays, you have a similar product for men also, it seems. Fair and handsome. Okay, without putting that, I am not handsome or what? Varna can mean the external colors. The internal color or the texture of the individual as to how their guna is based on that Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And if you read the Purusha Suktam really well, they say for a complete personality you need all aspects. You have to have the knowledge and the expertise in that knowledge. That is when it is called Brahmanatva. Then you need protecting yourself and that which you are concerned for. Therefore you are Kshatriya. It is not good enough if you are good, but you have to also sell yourself as good. Therefore you are the Vaishya. And at the end of it, you have to put your hands where your head is and you have to put your head where your hands are. In that particular vritti, in that particular kind of job description that you are working in, you become Shudra. Skill sets. Jati, Varna, Ashramadayah. This ashrama concept is completely conked off in these days. The only thing that seems to be effectively working is grihastha-ashrama. In brahmacharya ashrama, to be initiated into the sandhya, vandanadi, ityadi kriya is almost absent. Just the day before they get married, they are introduced to it and their brahmacharya is for few hours. Oh, what then? If I am not married, I am not a brahmachari. You are a bachelor. Vanaprastha, nobody is caring it. After the children are married and you have seen the grandchild's face, you are qualified to enter Vanaprastha. Now, the different kinds of definition. If children get into the college, my job is done, I can enter Vanaprastha. Who told? Their complete responsibility is up until when they get married. And then you get to see the grandchild's face. And then you withdraw. Withdraw to a point wherein you are only available if the next generation asks for your help. Not like sitting at the threshold. कहाँ जा रहे हो? क्यों जा रहे हो? कब आ रहे हो वापस? And when they don't, you sulk. Nobody cares for me no more. Nobody tells me anything these days. घर में एक बुढ़ा बैठा हुआ है, किसी को कोई परवाह ही नहीं पड़ी हुई है. Nobody wants to tell me anything. You can sulk. यावत् वित्तोपार्जन सक्तः तावत् परिवारो रक्तः. रिटायरमेंट ఒక మూల్లో కూర్చో. Vanaprastha nobody is taking seriously. And then we have make-believe, because Vanaprastha is very serious, very serious stipulations in it. I said, now my responsibility is officially I am Vanaprasthi. Kab ja rahe ho? Vane sthitaha. Solitude. Sannyasa very rarely we find here and there. All these, for that who is a seeker on the seat of meditation, on the seat of seeking, none of this should ever matter. But then, we have been conditioned because of these conditionings so strongly, the identity is so strong, that we try walking into the path with all this baggage. Forget that it is not just when you go into the flight that you have to travel light. Even in life, you have to travel light. That is where you find delight. And as I said earlier, we are not just satisfied with my identity. Now that identity has to be accepted by the people around and validated and respected. Does it really matter if the world has to accept it and validate it? You put on a new clothes, how do I look? Don't you know? Whatever is the purpose that you are going for, is it apt for it? Don't you know? There are certain questions that can never be answered. क्या इसमें मैं मोटा या मोटी दिखता हूं? अब क्या बोले? If you say yes, problem. No, also is a problem. Not only that we are identified, but we have this heavy, constant engagement that my identity should be accepted, appreciated, validated. And that is when I feel I have been respected. We were having some discussion and there was a group. See how subtle and deep we are entrenched into. And we had given a particular individual a job to research on something and come back and report a proposal. And the proposal was given, we all deliberated on it, and unanimously we all decided to reject it. For whatever reasons. The meeting ended at about 8 p.m. Had Bhiksha. At around 10:30, this individual must have reached his home. I get a call from his wife. You have insulted my husband. I said, why is he not your husband anymore? I knew who was talking. No, I'm talking about the meeting. I said, in the meeting he did not attend as a husband. So the insult is not to the husband. And secondly, what was rejected was his proposal and not him. Do you see the difference? If what I am proposing is accepted, is equated to I am respected, If what I am proposing is rejected, I am disrespected, insulted. This tadatmyata, this oneness with our conditionings, is so deep, so subtle, so vehemently prominent as the very identity, my very existence depends on it. I create various ripples of discomfort, misery, turbulence, and because of that I extend the domino effect to others around me. Because if my mind is agitated, what can I give to the world? When we stand up and do the pledge, Chinmaya Mission pledge, giving more than what we consume, giving more than what we get, and producing more than what we consume. We do that. Giving more confusions, because that is what I am, that is where I exist. Producing more agitations, why? That is where I exist. Because though the motto of the mission is to give maximum happiness to maximum people for maximum time, I try to sincerely follow to give maximum of what? Of what I have. Whatever I am completely engrossed in, whatever I have become, that is what I can give. So he says, ātmanyāropitāha sarvaha. All these things are superimposed on the concept of I, and we behave as that. What is the nature, swarupa of water? Sapidity is the nature of water. It being hot or cold is a guna, not a swarupa lakshana. It's a guna lakshana. Why? These attributes can be gathered, increased, decreased, lost, regained. Isn't it? You add color to it. You add the rose flavor. It becomes rose flavored water. You add mango pulp. It becomes mango juice. You add beaten up dahi. It becomes buttermilk. And technically it is not buttermilk because you have not extracted butter from it. That after extracting butter, what is left behind is technically called buttermilk. Then why do you call buttermilk? That from which butter has been exhausted or removed. You add masala to it, it becomes chas. You add sweetening agent to it, it becomes lassi. You freeze it and scream that it is ice cream. You add sitafal ice cream, you add coconut ice cream, chiku ice cream, mango ice cream. All these are additives into the base, that which is water, and the water does not have any of these gunas. Whether it is the color, whether it is the form, whether it is the conditioning, whatever that it is available in, is an additive. It's an add-on. Similarly, the Atma Chaitanya, and there should not be a struggle. How would I know that I am that independent Atma Chaitanya? Its very nature is knowledge. The buddhi, that which we say is sharp because of its presence, its knowing nature. Now, how deep is this identity? What are all the things that we are identified with? Here Adi Shankaracharya ji is not talking about the extensions of how with this wrong identification I also end up identifying with the outside world. That is not the focus. The focus is here on the basic identities, which becomes an aberration. So that concept is taken for discussion in the next shloka. paṃcīkṛtamahābhūtasaṃbhavaṃ karmasaṃcitam śarīraṃ sukhaduḥkhānāṃ bhogasādhanam. So here the discussion begins about the sthula sharira, sukshma sharira and the karana sharira. That which I behave as, become and interact to be. So these are the three different layers. And most of the time we behave from all three layers. Sometimes it is predominantly one of them. So what is the sthula sharira? It is like the same chapter cut and paste from Atmabodha in a poetic way. paṃcīkṛtamahābhūta, the grossified five elements, the five elements being earth, water, air, fire, air and space, in that very sequence. They are grossified. Until they are grossified, they are not tangible, they are not experienced, they cannot be experienced. So the grossified ones can be experienced. So from these grossified five elements, sharira is generated, created. And how is that sharira? That sharira has, it is like the framework through which all the other aspects now start getting assembled in. And how is each one's sharira? That depends upon our past karma effect. If in the earlier life all that I have done is eat, sleep, again sleep, a very lethargic life, then Bhagavan says, probably I have given you too much of capacity when you are going on a trip and you have asked your child to pack their bag and they are responsible for carrying it. It is a little overweight. They are not able to carry it. You as a parent, an intelligent parent, what do? You pick that and give them that which they can handle because of their condition. So Bhagavan is also like that, very benevolent. This is human life, too much of capacity, you are not able to handle it. Therefore, go to a python. Why? Its job is only that. Eat or eat, sleep or sleep. It is so lethargic that its hunting technique is not to chase. You have seen leopards, you have seen cheetahs, you have seen lions, you have seen even the dogs chase for food. Python, have you ever seen a documentary of how python is chasing? No, it waits. If the stomach is growling in hunger, it says, Narayana will provide. We will chant Brahmarpana. Wait. It will keep its mouth open and wait. And once it finds its prey, because its prayers are answered, there is no chewing, it gulps down and then wraps itself to a pillar or a post until 10 days, 15 days, a month, it will be in that position. Slowly that which has been eaten suffocates, putrefies, then decomposes, and then it starts getting the rasa. Then again, if in this life, even though we have had a human life, if we are constantly pestering, nagging, next life mosquito. There is no Shastra Pramana for what I just said. I am just making examples so that the point is understood. Karmasaṃcitam. Here karmasaṃcitam, don't flip it to say sanchita karma. That is not what it is meant. The cumulative effect of the earlier birth decides our śarīraṃ. In Bhagavatam, they say the śarīraṃ, with all its abilities, capacities, including the saundarya, is depending upon our earlier life's karma. There in that description, there is a funny, I find it funny, that all those who are women in this life were men in their earlier life. All those who are men in this life were women in earlier life. Why? Because of the mutual attraction, the thought of that is so intense that we have been thinking of the opposite gender. Therefore, the next life, Bhagavan says, itni preeti hai, to ban jao. I am not making it up. Bhagavad में लिखा हुआ है. So whenever you come across those situations where they say, you should be a woman to understand this. Don't worry. You are covered. You are insured. Insurance policy on your name is already issued. Karmasaṃcitam. And this body becomes bhogasādhanam, the counter through which the tickets of indulgence are exchanged. You go to a movie theater, you have to buy, I don't know, these days I have not been to a theater in ages. Or you get a OTP or QR code these days? Yes? Okay. I'm just guessing. That's where the technology must be going. So are there still counters that we can buy ticket from? Okay. So similarly, this body is the counter to get the ticket. I want to enjoy seeing something. The counter that you have to go to is called eyes. I want to taste something. I am craving for it. The counter that you go to is so bhoga ayatanam, a counter for the bhoga ticket to be exchanged. It's only a counter. What you see is just the indriya, but the indriya perception happens in sukshma sharīra, not in the sthula sharīra. Therefore, it is only a counter of that exchange. Bhoga ayatanam śarīraṃ. And based on this, at the sharīra level, we experience that which is called sukha, dukkha. Therefore, it is very fleeting. This rasmalai is so good. Ba. It's just melting in my mouth. It's not too sweet. It is not too healthy. It has right amount of sweetness. It is not rubbery like that which you get in the canned. It's just melting. But it is fleeting. Why? After it crosses 3 inches, 3.1 inch, the tongue's length is usually that much, average, 3 inches. 3.1 inch when it goes in. Sukha is gone. When we eat all kinds of anap-shanap, there is something that is born from the and goes all the way till the throat. It doesn't allow you sit, it doesn't allow you sleep, it doesn't. Technically, it is called acid reflux. It is also known as aka dil jalan, heartburn, discomfort. Sometimes the sukha seems so painful. You go to a chaat bun, that place. They are eating that golgappe. Bhaiya thoda तीखा बनाना. And then why are you going through this pain? मजा आ रहा है. It seems like painful, but we seem to be enjoying that also. Sukha dukkhādi bhoga āyatanam śarīraṃ. What is the next? That which becomes this is the ayatana for bhoga. The next one is the actual place where this bhoga is experienced, cherished. That is called the sukshma sharīra. We'll just read the shloka. See the meaning tomorrow. paṃcaprāṇamanobuddhi daśendriyasamanvitam apaṃcīkṛtabhūtotthaṃ sūkṣmāṅgaṃ bhogasādhanam. So the earlier it was bhogayatanam, just a counter. Here the actual it is a sadhana. That is where enjoyment actually happens. And what are these places where you have the bhogasādhana? Paṃcaprāṇa, 5 pranas, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. That is why when we offer naivedya to Bhagavan, we say pranaya swaha, apanaya swaha, vyana swaha, anaya swaha, samanaya swaha, brahmane swaha. Until I came to Vedanta, never understood as to why pranas are being invoked and the food is not given to Ramaya swaha, Krishnaya swaha, Durgaya swaha. That is who we are feeding, right? But then it is not, it is only to the panchapranas. Panchapranani. Mana buddhi. कितने हो गए? 7. Dasha indriya samanvitam. 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action. Total 27. No, the reason I gave a surprise shock is, where do I create 10 more? There are only 17 places of enjoyment. What are they? What is the details of it? We will see tomorrow. Because if I start, I will need another 10 minutes, and it is approximately at that time wherein I would be overdoing it. Let's start. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyid dukkha bhag bhave. Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritangamaya. Om purnamadah purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate, purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavasishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.